Live on Facebook.
Here we are. I guess
we are underway. Hello, Nancy Kelly. Good evening.
Cohen, I just want to see if we're on. I'm on my Facebook page. See if we're there. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing
No,
fine.
This is the day. This is the day for that. No, it's not really though.
I feel like that this is our fourth show, and I feel it's my fourth chin already. I'm just adding a chin per show.
We were just talking about that a minute ago. I mean, I actually said to my doctor, I said, "How many people are gaining weight?"
Oh man,
it's tough. I mean, it's a tough thing because we're all cooking a lot. We're all like cooking. I'm cooking a lot more than I usually do.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder about like does excess hair weigh anything? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know, but I figured out a way to get mine cut, so I'm gonna. I mean, mine is completely out of control. I can't even. I can't even put anything in it anymore to hold it up. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Hey, we've got our first comments of the night. Our dear friend Beth Ann Dice.
Oh, good. It's like our little family. Like we're all having dinner together.
Yeah, Beth Ann saying that Joe and JoJo are with her, and I'm sure they're cooking up something.
Did you come out to the Fulton Jazz Fest, don't you, Eric?
Hey, Jonathan Knapp. I have been to the Fulton Jazz Festival on a number of occasions, but I must not tell a lie. I have not been. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Joe, but I haven't been out to Fulton in the last couple of years. I think it's been like around 2 or 3 years that I've been out there. I haven't.
I got a funny feeling I know when you were there. When we had Joey D with us.
I was there. Well, you were there. You've been there just about every year, right? But
thankfully, yes, thankfully, and I love it. I look forward to it every year. It's just great.
I was there for Joey. I think the highlight for me that night was not only seeing Joey DiFrancesco and your dear friend Carmen in tour on drums. What do you call them? Your what?
Oh, no! Don't put me on the spot.
All right. But do you remember what happened after the show that night? You nearly.
I fell. Oh, I'm always.
You were heading back to your trailer. And somehow I don't know if it was you just missed a step or there was a ditch or something.
Well, they had a tent up and they had these lines like a circus tent.
Right.
They had these lines running over and I was just maybe talking to someone and then headed towards the dressing room trailer and just didn't see it and ba-boom. I fell the last time I played at the 443. I tripped on a step and went flying in front of the
Did you?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
It was so embarrassing.
I just heard Kelly down, and I just rushed to your rescue, and fortunately you weren't that seriously hurt.
Yeah, I'm always like 10 things going on in my head. So
before we have our guest join us in about 10 minutes. A few other hellos. I want again, somebody who knows our guest very well, and somebody who you and I both know well, Mr. John Rohde is joining us.
Is he really?
At the moment, yes,
he is. How do you know that? Well, I keep asking you that. How do you know that? Where do you see that information?
It's just the chat room. It's I have access to it, and there's a special password that I have that you don't. No, you should be able to see it on the side. You don't see it?
No, I don't see it. Oh,
you have Donna Militello, Calandra.
Yeah.
Hey, Donna.
I only see the chat under the video.
Oh.
So that's okay. I mean, like, is it in the chat room of
Facebook? No. Yes.
No. Okay. I don't know.
Well, I'll just tell you that we just had a hello. Actually, the words "Hey kids" from our guest from last week, your dear friend and now my dear friend Jean-Pierre Leduc.
I mean, you guys are dear friends in a week.
I mean, Jean-Pierre, wouldn't you agree? Right? I mean, I would say we've
Don't get him going, Eric.
establish a friendship. You heard of this guy, Ronnie Lee? Just said hello.
Ronnie Lee. Wow,
Yeah,
he's
Ronnie.
joining us too.
Ronnie saying hi. John Delia, who I've always said is Robert Blake's doppelganger. What was that? I just saw that look.
What, me?
Although we're on a delay, so I look at the screen.
I'm just wishing I could find out where the chat is. I see it under the video. Could you show me what you're seeing? You can. Are you on your phone?
I'm on my phone. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But what I did is I just clicked on when the first person made a comment. I just clicked on. I see our screen. I see you and I split screen, and then there's the chat on the right hand side. Trust me, Nancy. Everybody is saying kind things about us.
I said, well, they don't have to. We haven't said anything all that awesome yet. I've had a long day. I was getting a lot of housework. I've been really, really busy during this time in so-called quarantine. But I live in a vacation resort spot, and trust me, everyone is here, and that's where I end the conversation.
Really? Is that considered a vacation resort spot where you are?
Yes, locally. Yeah.
So now you're in Fairhaven, or is it? Yeah. Where's Sodus Bay, though? Isn't that in that?
Oh boy, this is okay. All right. So Rochester, New York, Irondequoit Bay.
Okay.
The next bay is Sodus Bay.
Okay. All right.
The next bay is Port Bay. Right? And the next bay is Little Sodus Bay. So we are the furthest east.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of bays. Okay.
Yeah, when we were younger, we'd take the boats and go, we'd drive over a couple bays and look for a place to get beer, of course. Now it's wine. And here's Happy Memorial Day, everybody.
The good old beer days. Yes, Happy Memorial Day weekend. In fact, Donna just wished us a Happy Memorial Day. I should specify which Donna Militello, Landra, but Donna Piccini is in here as well. And Beth Ann Dice just said blind Sodus Bay.
Oh, I forgot that one. That's before us. That's right before us. So that's in between Port Bay and my bay, Blind Sodus Bay. It's a lot. And from my house, I can get on a boat and go to Canada. Or if I wanted, I could.
You could take a slow boat to China.
I could. You can get to the ocean from here.
Wow.
It's kind of an interesting thought. In fact, here's even some more. You got me on interesting things. So the big I'm having a slow day. The big ocean liner boats. Duh, it's a blonde day for Nancy.
I've never had a blonde day actually.
Well, they come over from Russia to the Great Lakes, and they brought all these little nasty mussels that are all over in the lake, clogging everything up.
Oh, okay.
From the ocean.
Interesting.
From the ocean.
The ocean. Wow.
Even though we have fresh water. Pretty interesting stuff.
By the way, John Delia says that we forgot Chaumont.
No, that's up north, John. Yeah. No, that's a different thing. That's like I think, well, maybe he's right. I don't know. I'm just talking about the ones along the thruway here.
All right. Kirsten just said she would.
Pierre says, don't try and come north because the border's closed.
Borders are closed, yes. And Kirsten Tetmeyer just said, she wished she had a boat so she could take a fast boat to Canada.
Oh, yeah. It's only 90 miles. From my house, go straight across, it's 90 miles to Kingston, Ontario.
Oh, I want to get back to Canada at some point. Toronto is one of my favorite cities.
It is. I remember the first time I went, and just being so amazed at how beautifully clean it was. A city of that size, and how really makes you aware of how different we are.
Oh yeah, yeah. Should we let people know who our guest is? He'll be joining us.
Why don't you say something? I guess it says so on Facebook.
It does, but for those who maybe are joining us and maybe they just want to be surprised and they didn't even check to see who the guest was going to be, our guest today is simply the finest pianist we have in all of Central New York. I consider her maybe my second favorite pianist in the world, and that's only because my dad is a pianist, and I got to always put my dad up top. But I've always said the closest thing to, and I should save this when he's on, the closest thing to Ray Cohen in Central New York is our guest today, the fabulous Rick Montalbano, who has been a major part of your life, and I know you have a wonderful friendship with Rick, both musically and personally, and he's just a tremendous human being. I mean, musical,
really great sense of humor. I love Rick is very smart, and he's very witty and very dry. The humor's very dry. He sends me very funny movies. I don't know if John Rotary and the other guys get the same movies that I do, but he makes funny things that just
really
up. Yeah,
I didn't know. I don't get those movies.
Well, you'd have to be. See, we're a little the nutty people get. You're a little more sane than I am, Eric.
You're calling me sane?
Well, what does that make me?
Wow. I mean, if I'm sane, then.
But wait, really, who do you know is sane? Okay, this is going to be wild. Did you know that normal is just a setting on the dryer?
The fact that I have to think of it. Normal is normal a setting on the.
It's just a setting on the dryer.
Oh, okay, I got you. Well, it's not normally a setting for me, so. But anyway, yes, you mentioned Rick is witty. You know, I always think he's so witty, and well, you know what I'm getting at. But
oh my gosh!
I know we don't want to, but we should be joined momentarily by. Mr. Montalbano. Hi to William Barber, who joined us.
That's my cousin. All my cousins get on. I love it.
Well, considering you said Happy Memorial Day, cuz, and I said, if you're my cousin, William, nice to meet you for the first time. But I figured it was your cousin. Yeah.
He's a fabulous hairdresser. He has a wonderful salon in Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah, Atlanta, that's cool. I keep threatening him that when I'm touring, I'm going to get off because we often fly through Atlanta. And I say, I'm going to get off and come see him. Of course, that's a whole other thing that we have to look forward to yet, I guess.
And Beth Ann saying what I knew all along, and you were pulling my leg, that dryers don't have that normal setting, and neither does she, according to Beth Ann.
It's not what she said, and I'm looking at it. Don't be hard on me today. I'm in for something good here with Rick, I can tell you.
Oh, man. Well... Rick is his humor is second to none. I mean, everybody has their own sense of humor, my dad included. Maybe it's a pianist thing, but Rick's sense of humor and my dad's sense of humor and Rick's sense of playing and my dad's sense of play. It's amazing how both their playing and their senses of humor both gel so well together. So. It's interesting. So, and I don't think they've ever even met each other.
There are different personalities, I think, of all the different musicians. There's so many great jokes. Rick might be able to tell us some of them, like the sing. I could tell you a chick singer joke, lots of those, because I hear them all.
You know, all right, if you want.
I'm not going to. I don't have the power today. I'm having a low power day. So.
Oh my! Look who joined us.
We're waiting to see your face. You got to turn your video on, Rick.
Noah Kelman. Maybe I'll wait if Rick is going to join us.
Look who's here.
Hello.
Where is he?
Oh my God,
Rick. Where is our dear friend?
You don't see him?
Not yet.
Well, he's a little. He stays in invisible mode, huh?
A little blurry.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I'm blurry.
Oh my goodness!
That's why we wear our glasses to see you, to find you in the room, Rick.
How are you guys?
Good evening, Ricardo
Good
Montalbano. How are you, sir?
And how is Roy Cohen?
Ah, Roy? Already this comes up.
No. You gotta understand, Roy Cohen and Ray Cohen, two totally different people. My dad never got involved.
Your father must have had some fun with that over the years.
Oh, believe me, he's gotten mail addressed as Roy. Oh yeah, you bet. But no, Dad's doing well.
I forgot that Vic Damone passed away. What, last year or something?
A couple of years.
That's right, he did.
It was a couple of years ago. My dad had talked to him, I think about 2 or 3 months prior. He was, I want to say 89 when he passed. But my dad did his very last concert. Vic flew my dad and my mom down to Florida, and they did it at I believe it was at the Kravitz Center, a really nice, very nice facility down in Florida. And sadly we lost Vic a few years ago. But as Nancy and I discussed, I think on the very first show, that even though Vic never got to the level of fame that Sinatra did, Vic was.
I loved him.
He was a giant, and he was, had those matinee idol looks, a la Rick Montalbano.
Well, if you want some other inside info, you should read
please
Bacharach's book.
Oh, yeah.
Because he played with Vic Damone very early on.
Burt Bacharach.
Yeah, Burt was his piano player and conductor, arranger for several years, very early in his career.
I did not know that. I did not know that. Rick,
not a big fan of Vic Damone, incidentally.
What? You're not a big.
He wasn't a big fan. Burt Bacharach.
Well, that's why he didn't have the gig for very long, man.
Hey, Rick, we have a comment and a question.
Okay. I heard you say my other son Noah Kelman's name.
Your other son Noah Kelman commented, Rick taught me humor, and then follow that up with piano too.
A little bit of piano,
but mostly humor.
Boy,
I know you. Teaching has been a big part of your life, and Noah is one of your favorites.
Exceptional. Well, I've had a bunch of them. I'll tell you. I was just thinking today, prior to us getting together, and I made a list of some of the students in the past, recent past, my piano students.
Yeah. Was Noah?
Do you want to share? Do you want to share that with us, Rick?
I would like to share it with you.
Yeah, please do.
Say hello to all my students. Andrew Carroll.
Yes.
I didn't know Andrew.
And Noah Kelman. And Danny Pugh.
Oh, he's doing well.
Yeah, and William Gorman.
William is in the chat right now.
Yeah, William, hey, bud.
Wait a minute now. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but William was studying voice with me, and at some point during that, he came to you. And did I suggest that he come to you, or were you seeing him already?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think I did. I think I said
there's
only one guy.
He was in high school, maybe a sophomore in high school or something, and he really didn't play.
No, he wasn't playing then, and
just took off like.
So motivated,
yeah.
So insanely motivated, but that's what it takes. You have to, and he did the right thing. I pat myself on the back as I said, look, man. First of all, if you're going to study piano or organ, you got to go see Rick, and second of all, you got to go to New York. You can't.
Yeah, both of which he did.
Which he did.
He's doing.
Yeah, and he's still there. He's graduated school, and he
came by the Savoy just prior to all of this commotion. He came by one night and sang with me, and then sat down and played and sang, and it's just.
How is his singing? I would love to hear him sing.
Oh, it's great, Nancy. He's got. Swinging a kind of a light sound. I don't want to say Chet-ish, but
yeah.
I had to pick somebody in that kind of a vein. It might be a Chet Baker type of singer, and the company,
you know what?
So beautifully. He's just that's a great kid.
I mentioned this a couple of shows ago. This is our fourth show now. The last live music show that I saw was Mr. Gorman out in Camillus at the Green Gate
with Jimmy Johns.
With Jimmy, and I want to say Pete. I think.
Oh, Will Gorman's on.
Yeah.
He goes, checks in the mail, Rick.
I'm still waiting, William.
Yeah, wait a minute, man. We're jazz players. It might be a few weeks.
Everyone's checking.
You can just pay off with some pastries, William.
Oh my God! I'm sorry, Eric, but I have. William was in my vocal studio for a while, and we always do those. You're with me there at the vocal jazz jams.
Right.
You're our pianist for that.
That's right.
And his mother would bring that whole tray of pastries, and it was just astounding. And when William moved on and with his life, we were like, well, where's the pastries, man?
Wow.
I brought some to the Savoy recently when they came.
Did he really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Now, there's a good boy.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I never associated Will with pastries before, but now I guess I have to.
Did you say pasties or
pastries?
Oh,
get your hearing.
Oh, okay.
Get your hearing checked and get your mind out of the gutter, Kelly. Come on.
Well, what else is there to do?
But by the way, Noah had a great comment, Rick, in the chat. He said that he was mainly motivated to play fast, but that you taught him that less is more. How about that?
Generally speaking, but in some cases, less is actually less.
Less is less. Less is less. Okay. Well.
It's not that clear cut. I don't want to mention any names, but a certain drummer used to tell me that, man, less is more. Not in your case.
No names, of course. All right.
No, definitely no names.
Yeah.
So let me see, before I'm done here.
Finish your list. We didn't interrupt. Well, that's the way this show goes.
Because I got to give a shout out to all my.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. And I said Andrew, Noah, Danny Pugh, William Gorman, a very fine piano player by the name of Otto Muller, who you don't hear much from because he's in academia and he's a classical, contemporary classical composer. Phil Leone was one of my students. You know Phil.
Yeah.
And a young guy in Syracuse now is doing very well, Mike Passarelli. You may know Mike, Eric.
I do know Mike. I think I met Mike. Yes, I know the name.
And then there was a Colin DeJoseph. You remember that name?
Absolutely, sure.
Spectacular.
I've heard that one.
And he's
went to Liverpool, I believe.
That's right. He had a career doing piano transcriptions online. Pay him, and you want to hear Bill Evans' version of whatever, and he transcribes it and sends it off to you. They're super accurate, and just it's got a fantastic ear, which I found out very early on. And he's a great young player and doing well. He lives in Berlin at the moment.
Does he?
Wow.
Berlin. Wow.
And then there was the first out of this group of piano players was a kid named Tim Hayes. Now, Tim Hayes, do you remember when around 2000, the first conglomerate of kids who were part of they won national acclaim. It was either the McDonald's band or the something high school All-American Jazz Band or something. He was a piano player for that. He went with that thing. That was before Andrew and Noah and all those guys. There was a Tim Hayes.
Tim Hayes.
Yeah.
Wow.
His father was a professor at Colgate, where I teach. Yeah.
How are you guys teaching video now? Or of course we're done with class now, but
yeah, I've been doing video since all of this started. I figured out a way to do it. It's actually worked out great for me.
Well, for me too as well. I enjoy it very much.
With all the little apps that you can see you can see the keys as I play them, and it names the chords, and I open up Finale and do, charts for them, whatever we're working on. I write out and then just email it off. So yeah, some ways it's better than them having to be with me.
Yeah.
In what way is that better?
Well,
I think she knows the answer, but
I hear stories. Remember that you did? I did. What are you talking about?
You know what's funny is they do better with me in a lot of ways with the video, because I feel like your presence has sometimes, not yours, but either one of us has a, it changes the way they behave when they're around you, you know?
Yeah.
Because you one of the cats, man.
Hey, man.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. One of the cats, indeed.
Before I
How
was,
long you?
Before I was
Go ahead.
married to Julie Falatico, I was married for 50 years, close to it, to Jill. Remember my wife, Jill, Eric? I'm sure you remember Jill.
Absolutely.
When we first started going out,
Lovely woman.
just started cracking up at me, and I didn't know why. She said, Jesus, is everybody you know named Man? Yeah, I guess so. Everybody,
Wait a minute.
guys in there.
You know what? I know I've really had an effect. My daughter goes, "You dig?" to me. No, no, it's not good.
Oh my goodness.
So how do you say, we were just having this conversation, Eric and I, in case we brought up Julie. How do you pronounce her last name? Because I always thought it was Falatico.
That's right, Falatico.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Now it's Falatico Montalbano.
That's a lot of letters, man. Yeah.
A lot of yes, indeed. And we wish Julie well.
Yeah.
I forgot you were going through your list, Rick, and I said there was a question amongst the comments.
Yeah.
From Noah and from Will Gorman, and I had to go back to a comment. It's been 10 minutes, but the question still applies. A gentleman by the name of John Rody, I think you know him.
Sounds familiar.
Has the question. He just wants to know, very simple. Rick, is that your real hair? And I think John really wants an answer. So
No, it is not.
Okay, there you go, John.
It's
that
roadkill.
It's what?
Roadkill.
It's roadkill.
I live out in the country now, Eric, and yeah, things get a little rough.
Oh man!
So I get a meal and I get a tube.
A tube. Well, it looks good. That's a nice looking roadkill you got there.
Just be glad you don't have this mess.
So John Rody is with us at the moment.
Yes.
Yes,
John Rody.
yes. Mostly syllables, he said. I don't know what that means. You know what that means.
His real name is Chachi. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, Rich.
Yeah,
John Rody? Chachi?
His birth name is Chachi.
Chachi. No, I did not know.
Chachi Rody. It sounds
Chachi
like a dancer to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I know John is going to come back with something here.
And Nancy, is it true that you were one of the Cianci sisters?
Oh, yes, I am. How did you know?
Yeah.
Nancy Cianci.
There was a girl, actually was a girl I went to high school with. Her name was Nancy Ann.
Oh.
Nancy Ann.
Cianci.
Well, you should tell him what you call me. That you call me. He calls me a lot of things, but.
Yeah, well,
Nancy.
But
Nancy,
I'm kind of antsy, so it works out.
Well, there you go.
But in Italian, my name is Nunziat.
Annunziat.
With the Annunziat.
Oh my.
I don't think Eric translates to Italian. Enrico, maybe?
Yeah, right. Ricardo.
Enrico? Yeah.
Ricardo, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, John Rody's response, yep. So obviously you were not lying about Chachi.
Is it really, though? Oh, come on.
His response was, yep.
Y-E-P, yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a word?
John, you have a wonderful economy of language. Johnny. Hi, Johnny.
And look at this. Speaking of Johnny's, I was just thinking about what my Italian name would be for Eric. Mr. John Delia just chimed in with Enrico. Basically just adding an O to my name. So I'll take that, Johnny Delia.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So we got Rhodey in here, Delia. Any more?
Did you know that John Delia's real name is Kogoots?
I've always thought John Delia's real name was.
Who's he in cahoots with? That's what I want to know.
Kogoots.
Oh man, I had a good joke and now I forgot it.
I got a quick joke, Rick. It's not a music joke. It's just a classic groaner.
Yeah.
Does
it involve a trampoline and a rubber chicken?
No, I'm sorry, it does not. It involves a buffalo. Actually.
Wow. Okay.
What did the buffalo say to the to his child when he dropped his child off at school?
What did he say to his child?
How long do we have, Eric?
I'll give Rick all the time he wants, but I'd like to give the punchline.
Da 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 da.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah, that music makes me nervous. I'm under pressure.
All right.
I can't.
All right.
Answer.
Buffalo, when he drops his child off at school, says, "Bye, son."
Oh,
My son.
no.
Bye, son. Yeah. Yep.
No,
Da 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 da.
Eric, that's good humor right there, man.
No, it's not. But that's
A material, man. As far as I'm concerned.
that's Ray Cohen kind of humor, actually, is what it is.
Oh, no wonder it hit home.
Yeah. So
You have any recordings of your dad in a setting other than the victim?
Well, there are recordings of him on YouTube. I have some vinyl recordings of him.
Oh, cool.
Here in my apartment, except I don't have a turntable. But of course, when I go home, he's got all of his recordings that he did with his longtime friend Derek Smith. But if you go to YouTube and search Derek and Ray,
Derek Smith, is he a piano player?
Yes, he was. He was from Great Britain.
Right.
Sadly, Derek passed away within the last 4 or 5 years. My dad, though, is still close friends with his widow. But yeah, they were a piano harpsichord duo. And so they would sit facing one another. And if you just go to YouTube, search Derek and Ray, they did a couple of albums, and through the beauty of social media and sharing, my dad is on there. So people can, but they've got to search Derek, Derek, and Ray. If they just search Ray Cohen, I don't know if they're going to find anything. So
nice. I'll do that. Definitely.
Please do. Yeah, please do. I found some great photos of you on your website. A picture of you with Jimmy Johns when he had a full head of hair.
Do you have to put up?
It was frightening.
What's that?
That was frightening.
That's the one where you were playing on the drum cases, right?
Oh, is that?
So do tell. Did you actually forget your?
Yeah. Where did that?
I don't know. He's the one who had it.
Andy Carroll sent it to me one day, and I would remember where
the picture of you and Jimmy.
Yeah, where I was playing. Apparently I left.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's not you and Jimmy. It's Jimmy and Ricky. Your son in 1987. If I knew how to screen share, I wish I could get this. Nancy, is there a way for me to get this picture up?
Excuse me. If you scroll your mouse on the bottom, you don't have an option of screen share.
Oh, I don't. Okay, but you do.
You have participants.
I think Nancy.
If you see participants.
I have participants. Yeah. Yes.
Will that come through? No, that's not the one.
No, that's okay. It's just a picture of Ricky wearing what looks like a birthday cake on his head.
That's right.
Yeah, and Jimmy's just sitting there with a Budweiser on the table, and the same mustache that he has today, pretty much, and a full head of hair. I've never seen that Jimmy Johns.
I've known him that long. Yeah.
Would you say you've known Rick?
Maybe you should help him with the roadkill thing or something.
Well, I offered to share it with him. I wear it half of the night. You wear it the other half. But a little fussy.
Oh my God! I got to thank William Gorman. William Gorman just Googled Derek and Ray, and sure enough, came up with a link to one of their songs called Interplay. So anybody that's in the chat room right now could, we don't want you to leave us, but they can see they could click that link later on, and it'll take you to a whole bunch of recordings that my dad did. So
somebody said you could turn your mic up, Rick.
Yeah, somebody said that
I don't know
volume
if you do that midstream here, but I'd love for you to tell us about your son, Ricky, if you want.
About Ricky?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you just the volume just
better? Yeah,
it's good.
A lot better.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah, tell us how Ricky's doing.
Well, I guess Ricky and Jane live in Los Angeles, and
well, for our audience who perhaps don't know who Jane is, maybe
you might tell them which Jane you're referring to.
That would be Jane Monheit.
Jane Monheit.
Montalbano.
Extremely beautiful and immensely talented young woman.
What a girl.
Yes. And they just celebrated 18 years. Amazing, Rick.
That number made me feel so old. I went, "Oh my God, it's been 18 years."
Wow.
And I was honored to be there at the wedding on Long Island, and it was a real
it was a nice affair, right?
A real treat. I still remember who I sat next to. I sat next to a gentleman. I don't think I've talked to him since the wedding, but a name that you would know, Rick, and I'm sure Nancy would know, Devin Garamone.
Of course, yeah.
I'm sorry to say I don't.
Devin Garamone, who's a sax player and also a lawyer.
He's a lawyer from Utica. He's
based in
a smart guy.
Yeah.
Saxophone. He's
I know, doing both those things.
Judge. He studied with J.R. Montrose.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He started as a kid with J.R. and J.R. Of course, he used to beat his students into submission.
Did he really? Wow.
He didn't believe in the subtle approach. I'm only kidding, but he was tough.
But those were the good old days, Rick. They really were.
Yeah.
They were the good old days. Yeah.
Now, Nance, J.R. Montrose, I've just heard so many stories about J.R. Montrose, but I mean, you knew J.R.?
I did, but not as well as Rick.
Not as well as Rick.
No. You got to remember, a lot of the time that this stuff was going on, I was living in Philadelphia.
Ah, right.
I was either living in New York or in Philadelphia for a lot of this stuff. In fact, Rick and I only rekindled our musician friendship and personal friendship just 3 years now, 4 years? We've started really working quite a bit together, which is just a great joy for me.
Yeah.
Well, your friendship goes back how many? I mean, you remember when you
Talk
first?
About JR or me and
you and well, with all due respect to JR, but you and our guest, how far back do you go with?
How far? I mean, what?
I remember talking to you in the 70s when I had come off of the road with Lou Rawls.
Oh,
just kind
that was a great intro. Let's hear that story.
Well,
that's funny. It almost looks like Lou Rawls is sitting right on your piano there too. Hey,
wait, tell us about this. Tell us about this.
Well, in the early 70s, of course, I mean, like you probably.
I was going to bring this up. That we
all
both
fans of Lou Rawls back in those days.
Yeah.
A couple of those albums that he did were just, they were just.
You'll never find.
Yeah, this was prior to that, actually, but he had a lot of. He had Grammy Award-winning songs before that, more in a kind of an R&B soul blues style. He did a lot.
I used to love when he did "I'd Rather Drink Muddy Water."
There you go. That's
the classic bar saloon song.
He did something that I think of now and then, and that is he used to do introductions to his songs over the music. I know you've been doing that a little bit lately too, Nancy.
What is it? I'm not quite aware of what I do, so it's helpful when you
ramping and you do a little story, just something on the spot.
Yeah.
In this case, it was worked out material, but we would call it, and he called it, the rap. So a lot of times in the show, he would say, "We're doing Muddy Water, no rap." So we'd cut the intro short just because we needed extra time. But he called that rap.
You knew to noodle. Did you noodle when he was rapping?
Oh yeah, well the whole literally the rhythm section was in. We were vamping, and he would do his,
the whole band was in.
They call it the Windy City because of the Hawk, the Almighty Hawk, Mr. Wind, and he would go on and on with these Chicago tales.
Clearly, he must be from Chicago. Is that
from Chicago?
I mean, I'm not a historian. I say it every week. I don't know.
And he was best pals with Sam Cooke.
Oh, wow.
They had a gospel group together.
Of course.
In the early 60s. If you listen to some of those old Sam Cooke records, you hear Lou clearly in the background with that deep baritone
Oh, I know it. Yeah.
sound, singing backup to Sam. And interestingly, they had an accident on the way to or from a gig, and Lou was pronounced dead.
No, like for real?
No, yeah, he was pronounced dead. They put him in the ambulance. They took him to the hospital. When they got there, suddenly he was not dead anymore.
He wasn't dead.
He wasn't dead. He was playing dead.
Playing.
But he's got a scar. You could see if you know enough to look at it. He was hurt pretty bad. But I started with Lou in I think 1973. Carmen Carmonica in Utica, a great guitar player. A mutual friend, more a friend of Carmen's, Jack Toker, a good drummer from Pennsylvania, ended up with the gig with Lou. And when Lou needed a guitar player, he recommended Carmen, and Carmen got the gig. And then at some point they needed a piano player. He recommended me, and I passed the audition, and I got the gig.
The rest is history.
The great thing about that band is not only playing with Lou, but Jaco Pastorius was in that band for a minute, and
Don Elias too. I heard.
Elias was the percussionist, and Don and I ended up having a lifetime friendship. We were best pals forever. And Jaco too. Of course, he checked out kind of young. But
yeah,
Jaco was in the band for a few minutes, and but I used to see him all the time. We would play and hang out. I got a lot of old cassette tapes of us playing. And
William Gorman wants to know what the audition was like.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was actually playing the show. I had to get through a night playing the show, and so I got the music in advance, listened to the records, and went in and played the show. And I guess he must have been happy because
How long were you with him?
About 3 years.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And you played all over. You played New York. You played Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, you did a lot of traveling.
A lot of traveling, and all kinds of crazy venues. I mean, really good venues, and a lot of prisons. Lou loved to play prisons.
Come on, are you being
really?
Now, come on, I never know with you.
Well, any town we would go to, he would set up a daytime performance in, the prison. And believe me, there were some pretty mean prisons in those days, and we used to go in and play them all. Go through the check-in, and and like that.
I have to say that's something that I've never done, but I can imagine why they would not want me to do that.
yeah, it'd be a little different in your case.
A little different, what I mean.
No, yeah.
You might not make it out.
So before Lou, like me, I started out. You're a classically trained pianist.
No,
you're not.
Not.
When did you start? Well, then give me a little timeline of what your piano history is.
Well, I started playing when I was about 11 and a half, but I started playing the accordion.
I love
So did my dad.
Yeah. So, and from there, and I started playing gigs right away. When I was 13, I started making money. And I tell Julie all the time, man, I just had a pocket full of cash all the time. Had no idea. Everything just went in the pocket. And there you go. I wish I would have been a little smarter about what to do with the money once I had it, but
It's
anyway.
funny you say that because I was having this whole talk with myself the other day about so many moments in my life that I didn't sit and really realize how fabulous it was. So many moments, and because you always had that vision, we're going this place. This is good. I like this, but we going there.
Right.
And
right.
This is one of them in your case where. Yeah.
So I played with the old timers right from the beginning, Nancy. Mm-hmm. I didn't play with anybody my own age. I just, did gigs with the old guys playing dance music at that time. Wasn't jazz, really. It was jazz-like. I mean, in that we took solos and improvised, but it was dance gigs, and everybody went out on the weekend. You're talking about late 50s, early 60s. Mm-hmm. Everybody, I mean, my parents were out every weekend dancing.
So you were like a phenom to everyone around there, that young.
I was young and played, so I guess I didn't hurt anybody.
Yet.
Yeah.
Did you ever get into the
Close
rock
to him
thing?
a couple of times. So the boxing, you said?
Oh, did you ever get into the rock thing? Like, did that?
Yeah. Then I played for a minute with some old friends of mine from high school. The
I heard
Brothers.
they kidnapped you, right?
They did. They kidnapped me, man.
Yeah, I see. I did
You
my
have to
homework.
wear platform boots?
And oh yeah, the
No, for real? You did?
bottom trousers, Nehru jackets, the crazy shirts. 5 guys in a van driving around the country. We'd play one night in Boston, and then we had 2 days to make it out to Waterloo, Iowa. In some dive, and that was what it was like then.
Can I just quote? I'm going to just quote. This is a quote directly from your website.
Okay.
This is quote. We traveled up and down the East Coast and out into Middle America and played some of the greatest and most god awful gigs ever.
Yep.
Does that still ring true?
Absolutely. And I'm still friends with all those guys, Paul Sabella and Bobby Del Vecchio and Ronnie Colangelo. They're still, chums, and it's great when you do that kind of road thing together. It's a little different these days when you get in a plane and you go and everything is taken care of. But I'm talking about 5.
Oh no, I lived that life.
In a van.
Yeah, no, I lived that life. We had a van called Big Bird. It was an old yellow, and you had the sound man and you had the PA that was so big. It was,
Right.
it was,
Right.
and everybody was drinking and whatever.
I mean, yeah, it was a little nutty.
It was crazy, but it was great.
We didn't have any of our own possessions at some point. It was all community property. The money, clothes,
Although my clothes didn't look so good on some of the guys.
Yeah, well,
Although they did want to wear them, though.
that little number you used to wear with the frill and the how do you do?
Oh, I would love to see a scrapbook of Nancy's
see
wardrobe.
Eric.
No, you wouldn't.
By the way, Rick, Jimmy Johns has chimed in. He just said, "Hey, Rick, Yuma."
Oh no! What's
what
it?
is-
Can you tell us?
Well, there's an inside joke there. That's why we have you on.
God, I can't tell it.
Oh, all right.
I wish I could, but it's filthy. Okay, so just
All right. All right, then let's get to Will Gorman, who asked, did you play with Tina Brooks a lot? And did you play, if so, was it on organ or piano?
Yeah, I played with Tina on organ on B3 at a place in Utica called Birdland, Nancy.
No kidding.
Yeah, Utica had a Birdland. It was designed after the New York club, I guess. It was a funky club that your parents wouldn't want you to go into.
Oh, the best kind, the absolute best kind.
Best. And I played there for a year with Tina Brooks, the great iconic saxophonist. And
Yeah.
Tina is a he, and he was just marvelous, just incredible. If you go back and listen to some of those old recordings, his first Blue Note recording was with Freddie Hubbard. They did a double date. Half of it got released under Freddie Hubbard's name and half under Tina's name. And, he spent years with Jimmy Smith and some of those records. Thurman. I know he
When
used
did
to
you
play
get into the organ?
right after the accordion. I went to organ, not the piano. We didn't have a piano.
Well, it would make it would be a little easier to follow with. I would
went
think.
to the B3 and then an electric piano after that. And I didn't really seriously play the piano till I was about 20.
Wow.
So when did you turn that corner to jazz? Really?
Very early on. I loved it from the beginning. My family, I had an older sister who listened to all of the great things and all of the great vocalists, Ella and Frank and all of those old records, Mel Torme. And so I heard a lot of vocalists back then.
Well, you know, to give you a great compliment, and I could tell you, because I've been in this business almost 50 years, not all the guys want to work with a singer. They don't. And you are tremendous, I can tell you, behind a singer. You are so sensitive, and you listen. It's magical.
Well, thank you, Nancy. I
Yeah.
try to do the right thing.
I've always referred to Nancy as a singer's singer, and I think based on what Nancy just said, you are truly a singer's pianist. And you know,
he does. Why don't you? Would you play something for us?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
I can't believe we're getting close to the 8 o'clock hour. I mean, we definitely need to hear.
Me, Nance.
Huh?
Can we do something together?
Well, you can't because there's a lag.
Oh yeah, you're not getting the
No.
timing is. You're not hearing that very
I
well?
hear it, but if I sing, what you play will not be in sync with what I sing for the listeners.
Oh,
All right.
bummer.
I could just like be a
How about
lame.
you, Eric? You want
I was gonna say.
to?
No, listen, we got over 30 people in here right now, and if I start singing, the whole room clears out.
The
So
room will clear out.
Is
Not
John
gonna-
Brody still in here?
I don't think John is, but I have somebody else that wants to pay you a compliment. Hey, Rick, my compliments on this fine interview. Hope all's well with you, Nancy and Eric. Mike Melito.
Well, he did think the interview was funny. He said, "Ha."
Yeah, he said ha. And also Suzanne says, I miss Sam and Ricky. Who's the Sam she's referring to?
Sam and Ricky.
Suzanne Elizabeth Tifo. I miss Sam and Ricky.
Sam.
I don't know. Oh, John Rohde. Yes, John Rohde is still here.
Yeah.
So,
He's a very mean person. Did you know that? You probably didn't know that about him.
He's mean.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
Well,
that's what I've heard.
Explains everything.
He's a tough guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
His real name was again?
Chachi.
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 Oh, he's the one. He's the one you got to watch out for.
Yeah, I had to take a couple of beatings from Chach. You know, every now and then, you just throw me shooting. Matter of fact, it got to the point where I, you know, like sometimes I felt bad because he didn't throw me a beating that particular Wednesday. You know, so I would.
Are you talking about a musical beating or
No, a regular old fashioned. You know, I'm gonna kick your butt. That type.
That it explains a lot to me.
Yeah, I could go on and on about Johnny, but
also Rick.
Yes.
Barbara Brown saying hello.
Hello, Barbara.
Of course, we love Barbara and Steve Brown.
Of course.
Good people.
Yes,
Steve.
sir.
What a fan! What a wonderful guitarist.
You know, do you find this, Rick? I just want to ask you. There is just such a storehouse of great musicians around this area. I mean, it's not just my observation. I mean, there's so many great players that not only still live here, but have gone on to brilliant careers that have come out of this area. And I mean, we call it the thruway circuit. You know what I mean? Buffalo, Rochester, you know, Syracuse, Utica, Albany.
Right.
New York guys started calling the Albany to Buffalo and all the little tributaries and whatnot off of the thruway, started calling it WAP. Oops, excuse me.
All right. Well,
now we want to know.
We'll edit that out and post production, Rick.
Now we want to know. Could you tell me?
I got that slightly wrong. That was Phil Woods, the great alto.
Oh, got it.
When I first time I played with him, I said, "Man, did you know JR?" Because I played for years with JR Montrose and Sal Nistico, and he goes, "Yeah, JR, Salamico, Sal Nistico," and he said, "Yeah, Wop Bop."
Wop.
Aw.
Wop.
Wop Babaluba, Lop Bam Boom.
No, okay.
New York guys would call this the upstate burn. Okay,
I've heard that one.
come to play up here, you know, and I think it had a lot to do with Nick Brignola and Albany.
Yes.
The Albany area because of his that aggressive, rollicking. You know, he was quite a monstrous player. And then at the upstate burn, but you go from all those guys in Albany, you come to Syracuse, and you've got Sal Nistico, one of the greatest tenor players to ever live. And you look at J.R. Montrose, Sal Amico, There were the Zito family, Ronnie Zito and Torrey Zito. Torrey was the arranger. He arranged for Sinatra, a lot for Tony Bennett.
And my dad, Rick, my dad played with Ronnie Zito with Damone.
Yeah.
So there's the connection right there. Yeah.
And it was Jimmy Wormworth in Utica.
Yeah.
Drummer Jimmy, who played Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross. When you listen to Cloudburst and you listen to those things.
Oh, I know.
Listening to Jimmy Wormworth.
And it's like an education. I mean, just gigging around here. You and I have both been blessed to not always have to play here, but when we do, there's always something good happening. Yeah. There still is. And we might be going back sooner than you think.
And we had the Mancini brothers in Rochester, and Joe Romano, and all those.
Oh, look at Romano! Oh my God, was a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
No, it's this is an area that, if you're not from this area. I mean, like, again, before I came to this area in the late 80s as a college student, and then becoming a radio personality, I didn't know the history of the music scene here in Central New York. And over the course of 30 plus years, it's remarkable the people who have grown up here and either stayed here or have left here. Names you've mentioned, of course. Then you talk about guys like Walt Weiskopf and Joey.
I've worked with Walt. Yep, many. Yep.
Joey Maggs, Andy Fusco, who went to Syracuse.
He's the Big Soap guy.
Okay, you know what? Can I make a point about when you said Andy Fusco? You triggered something, and that is a much overlooked group that came out of Syracuse, and they were called the Critics' Choice.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the Critics' Choice was basically Pete Procopio's band, and Adele, his girl Adele Durham, and in the band was Andy Fusco, and there was wait a second. All right, let's see here. Gary Keller, the great tenor player. Glenn Drew, the trumpet player.
Yeah, sure.
And John Mahoney was the keyboard player, organist, and arranger. John Mahoney runs the jazz program in New Orleans.
He's a wonderful player and a wonderful guy.
Yeah. So they did these arrangements. I have them currently, and I'm working on trying to fix the sound because they had these old reel-to-reel recordings. It's like one microphone in the room, and you know how those were. So
a lot of cats want to record like that now.
Oh, yeah.
They're going back to that. You have a recording studio, don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
I know, so you know what I'm talking about.
So that band, anyway, Pete and Adele and Critics' Choice. I'll tell you what. I don't know if there was a finer ensemble, a band to come out of Syracuse. They were just absolutely killing the arrangements, these intricate, energetic, and they sang. None of them were singers except Adele, but they all ended up singing, and they sound like the Four Freshmen plus Adele.
Wow.
That good, that kind of level of vocal harmony.
I missed that. What year was that?
That was early 70s.
I missed that.
71. And it's kind of, when they do all the awards programs in Syracuse, the what is it, the Sammy Awards?
Sammy, yeah.
Somebody ought to take care of Pete and Adele.
They definitely should.
They belong in the Hall of Fame. You're right.
As Jack Homer used to say to me, it's getting dark.
Yeah. I wanted to quickly mention, and then you're going to have to play us something because we've had a couple of people say, please play something, Rick. Angelo Candello wanted to drop in. Don't forget Fuel.
Oh my God!
In the 70s,
right?
In terms of your biography.
Well, Fuel was one of those kind of horn bands that were popular then. Like Chicago Transit Authority and so on and so forth. This was called Fuel. It was Carmen Carmonica, Dave Blask, Dr. Dave, the trumpet player.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Dean on drums, and a few other names you may not know probably. Sammy Oliva on bass, myself on organ and piano, electric piano, and our singer was Vinny Esposito. Do you know Vinny?
Vinny, I don't know Vinny.
Yeah, he's a great one.
Oh, okay.
He was singing like Ray Charles when he was 12 years old.
Woo!
Wow.
Ray was such a huge influence on me. Huge. Ronnie France says he agrees. Critics' Choice at the Zoo.
At the Zoo, yeah.
Okay. And
Like, is that a club or is it like a zoo?
I think he's referring to what do you call it as the zoo, unless there was actually a club, which I don't know. I think he was talking,
Um,
on, you know.
Rick, Ronnie France is going to be our guest next week. I don't suppose there's a nickname we should know of.
Well, actually, now that you brought it up, Ronnie's nickname is Rodney Krabs.
Oh my God.
With the funny pants. I don't know.
Rodney Krabs. And the way that came to be is
Oh
when
gosh.
my son Ricky was a little tyke. I had to leave the house one day, and he would always screw up if he had to answer the phone. He wouldn't get, I'm trying to make a living on gigs and
Yeah.
desperate times. You don't blow a gig. So,
Not like when you were 12, for Christ's sake.
right.
Jesus.
So I said, man, you got to take the person's name down and remember it. Okay, Dad, no problem. I come home an hour later. Anybody call? Yeah. Who was it? Some guy. Some guy. Who? And he said his name was Rodney Krabs.
And thus it began.
And
So it's stuck.
I thought about that name for days. I was going crazy. Who the hell is he talking about? Rodney Krabs. Rodney Krabs. Rodney Krabs. Rodney France. Okay.
Nancy, maybe that's how we should promote next week's show. Our special guest, Rodney Krabs.
Makes me cry. I'm going to cry. I love all these people so much.
Hi,
Oh my
Rodney.
gosh.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, I know. I'm sure you'll be tuned in next week, and you'll have a couple of zingers for Ronnie France when he.
Back at them. Don't worry.
Oh, I know you will. I know you will.
Get him, Rick. Get him good.
Would you please bless us with your talents? Nancy, do you have a request, or Rick? Whatever
Oh,
you
no,
can
I
choose.
want to, Rick, just let it flow, baby. Whatever comes out.
Great way to close the show by letting Mr. Montalbano do his thing.
I don't know what to play, but
I'm sure you can think of.
You got anything you're working on right now? Not us, but you.
stuff with
You and I are working on some things.
yeah, and also working on stuff with my wife Julie. We've got a project that we're in the middle of, and doing some video and audio stuff. Some of it we put on, just some fun stuff is up on Facebook.
People love it. They just love it.
Yeah.
And your website, we should plug it, rickmontalbano.com.
That's it.
And there's it's a great list of and we only touched on a few today of the people, the jazz musicians that you've played with over the years. I mean, we talked about Tina Brooks and we mentioned about Jocko and Lou Rawls, but this list is a Hall of Fame list, including people who've come through town for the Syracuse Jazz Fest that you got a chance to back, namely Aretha Franklin, which I know was, yeah, many times with Aretha.
Lucky with her because her conductor was an old friend of mine from the Lou Rawls days.
Aha.
Oh,
The
yeah.
old networking thing.
Yeah, so he
I
would
talk
call
about
me.
it constantly.
Yeah.
The networking thing. And you, even if you're going to stay here, you've still got to go to New York and network. You got to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Play something sweet for
I
me.
don't know what to play.
Come on, man. Play a little,
Maybe It Could Happen to You, you know that?
Oh, I love it.
oh, I love it. Love
Go
it.
ahead.
I'm a little shaky today.
Oh, well,
Got the tremors thing going kind of on high energy today, but I'll do my best.
it's a lot to be around Eric. It's hard.
It's very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And-
great.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Absolutely flawless and wonderful.
Wonderful, Rick. Thank you so much
for sharing with us today.
Oh, that was wonderful. And a certain lady named Julie says, "Beautiful, sweetheart, and your hair looks great."
Yeah, it does. What was that, a raccoon?
No, I think this was a possum.
That was.
I'll tell you.
No, that was outstanding. I just kept waiting for like Mike Salazzo to walk in and start playing that upright bass in the background.
Is that an upright bass or a downright bass? I'm just
Is that a down?
That one back there.
Yeah.
Joey Arcuri's bass.
Oh, that's Joey Arcuri's bass.
Is it for real?
Yeah, before this craziness, we were getting together every Wednesday and playing for a couple hours in the afternoon, and so he left one of his basses here.
He's a monster. I love him. He's a bad boy.
He's a good one.
Yes, he is.
He is. Well, we're going to be due, and thank you, Eric. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Nancy.
Everybody be safe. Have a wonderful
thank you, Nancy. Here. Rick, be safe, stay healthy, and thank you for making this Memorial Day weekend show as fun as expected.
Yes.
And our best to Julie.
Give our love to Julie.
I will.
And the kids.
All right. And we hope you'll join us next week when our guests will be Mr. Rodney Krabs.
Rodney Krabs.
Also known as Ronnie France, next Sunday at 7:00. Rick, you're the best. Take care. Nancy, be well.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us.